Hello there.
Welcome back. Last episode we leveled up Moon Bandit all the way to level 80 and we are now ready to take on the new expansion of Midnight. Today we'll be recapping our journey through the Midnight campaign, and just to do a recap of the overall goal, the goal is to collect all the things in the entirety of World of Warcraft. Now, even though our main objective is Lawmaster of Eastern Kingdoms, we are going to say that whenever we hit level 80, we are going to go and we're going to do the Midnight content. So, for the first run with Moon Bandit, we'll be focusing on just doing the campaign, no side quests, just focus on the campaign lore and have fun with it. And then the second character will then do all the Eversong quests, and after that the Amani, and so on. So let's get into it. We start out by seeking an image of Liadrin, and then we start watching cutscenes. We get introduced to some characters. We got Lady Liadrin, who's got some light flowing through her. Salathath, that's got some void flowing through her. Arator, that, well, struggles to get the light up. And Illyria Windrunner being trapped in the void, which is something I had to look up, since it wasn't quite clear in the cinematic. By the way, we got like a bad elf wants to consume the world by first corrupting the Sunwell above Silvermoon, which causes a shitload of paladins and elves to like join together to defend the Sunwell, because apparently people like existing and don't want to be consumed. We also meet Turallion once we get into the actual area of the cinematics. He's the father of Arator, and Illyria is his mother. Not the mother of Turallion, of course, but of Arator. Anyways, it's pretty standard stuff here. We fight void creatures, we save citizens, and eventually Salathath comes along and does a copy-paste on one of the void minions, and that means we've got to run away, regroup back at the Sunwell. A large amount of paladins like group together and start bolstering the Sunwell to defend it, which seems to sort of end in like a stalemate situation. So we scurry off back into Silvermoon, which is odd since we're a night elf, but apparently we're welcome now since we are saving the world and all. So we help out a bit, calming people down. We say hello to that one elf from Hearthstone. Then we start questing through Eversong, which has gotten a massive overhaul since the Burning Crusade, and the threat on the day's menu is the Lightbloom. Apparently there is so much light in the soil or something, causing the wildlife to act crazy. We do some other stuff too. We kill some clan members, we meet up with Magister Umbric, which ends up playing a central role later on as he studies the void and all, since there's this massive beam war going on in between Salathath's Hall and the Sunwell. We also complete our first delve, which honestly looks like a very fun avenue for grinding. So I kind of had to argue with myself for a bit to like stick to the challenge and not want to do just endgame content and delves later on. But yeah, that's kind of it for day 5. We just barely got started, and we did get a couple of percentages in. We went from 2.08 to 2.2, which is progress. Then day 6 comes around, we log back on in, we start a day off by riding the Darkman Fair carousel for a sweet little 10% boost in XP. Then we pick up where we left off and continue slaying some Lightbloom. Then the neighbouring trolls are messing around nearby trying to steal our wood, so we go kill them as well. But then the enemy of my enemy is my friend type B proves that the trolls weren't planning on taking Eversong, they just needed some lightwood to defend against the void beings wreaking rampage throughout their Mani zone. Well, the actual leader seems benign, but her brother is a bit of a dumbass. Also, in resolving this, Turallion pulls a Father of the Year moment and practices some accidental domestic abuse by slashing Arator across his chest. Okay, so quick pause here, bit of a rant. this moment could have been so much cooler and had so much more weight put into it, because as it happens, it's pretty cool. Because there's this underlying theme that's going out throughout the expansion, that light could be blinding as well, and that it's not inherently good. So it kind of emphasizes like the wielder has like a responsibility to like not get, because it's not corruption, it's blinding, right? So it's like this different aspect of this power, which I find very cool. So I was expecting this to like drive a massive rift between Arator and Thralian, and really like fuck shit up with one of them like sort of doing something extreme later on. Like I kept saying that Arator, for example, he smells like an Anakin type character, but sadly he doesn't end up killing any kids like at all. So there's this tension between them, but it never gets like properly resolved in my opinion. So the story just kind of goes like bing bang boom, happy family in the end, which is kind of disappointing, I feel. So why not lean into like the effects of like this moment and have it like escalate further, and why not like explore Arator's angst and rage? Like they do kind of explore it, but it's more as of Arator just doing cheesy ass lines telling that he's like unsure about everything. So honestly, I think it'd be sick if Arator was just a bit more of a baddie, but he ain't. So there's that. I didn't hate the characters in this expansion, but I think they feel a bit too safe. And I'm talking about the main cast of characters. I would like more like grey morality in the main cast specifically, because later on you do find some morally grey characters, but they are like sort of the archetype of a morally grey character, which then it doesn't hit the same as if like one of your main characters were morally grey, if you get me. Anyway, back to the trolls. So it turns out God is dead, or the lowers, because goddamn fucking Soul Jin, he pissed them off, tried to steal their powers and everything, happened back in Burning Crusade. Also, the new leader of the Imani trolls is actually his granddaughter, which is kind of neat, like tying the WoW lore together here. So we end up assisting Soul Jara in bringing the gods back. So we bring back a Burb god, then do the same for all the other tribes in the lands, the good tribes at least. So next one was a kitty, then a phoenix, and a bear. And then with the help of these gods, we drive away void forces and a lieutenant called the Mordoon. Then we head back to Silvermoon to report. There's some disturbances in Silvermoon, so we take care of some doomsayers, who turns out to be Twilight's Blade in disguise, which is cool to see the doomsayers return from Cataclysm. So after calming down things in Silvermoon for a bit, our next mission is to help out Arator. But not in a quest for him kind of way, but as in Alonso's foul and Undead Priest notices that Arator is a bit sad and we need to give him purpose and motivation, which honestly I really liked Alonso's. He's fun. But as I was talking about a bit earlier, is that I think this resolution is like too, it almost feels forced or like too early or something. Like there is no real conflict. The conflict was brewing, but now it's just Arator being like angsty. But either way, we hear the words and we help him out, helping Arator, I mean. Which leads us down memory lane. We basically go on a quest accompanied by Arator to fetch a bunch of relics to strengthen the paladins who stand like bolstering the Sunwell. Our first stop is Light's Hope Chapel in the Western Plaguelands, one of my favourite zones, so I get to kill some Scourge, which I'm always happy to do, and we collect some relics that Arator points out are not very warlike, and we get this sentiment that the Paladins' relics are based on what they kind of cherish and what they're fighting for, framing them as defenders of people instead of bloodthirsty warriors, which checks out. Of that, Alonso gets the idea of seeking out some more relics from some other people of the light, and it's the Scarlet Crusade. Which again, it brings up that underlying theme of light can be used for bad as well, and it not being inherently good. But it doesn't really delve too deep into it, which is annoying, and it's kind of leaving me with like an itch for someone to really go off the deep end. Actually, spoiler alert on that note, someone does go off the deep end with the light, but it's so abrupt, and I would rather it be like Tyrellian or Arator instead of a character that you get sort of introduced to in the last act. So the person going off the deep end gets introduced and goes off the deep end in the same act, which I mean, I'm also a returning player, so it might feel less abrupt for people that have been playing all the expansions. So yeah, there's that. Now, the quest train, the last bit of it, takes place in Burning Steppes, where we pick up pieces of Thoralien's shield. Now, there was a battle here long ago with Thoralien and Uther and Anduin Lothar, and people were fighting like the Blackrock Orcs. Now, Anduin Lothar, he died, which seems to have been the cause of Thoralien kind of losing his spark. So it's like a nice sentiment of his son like gathering the pieces of his shield that he lost in that battle. But anywho, we're also in the Burning Steppes, so I could not run the Molten Core, which means we did our first classic raid, picking up a couple of transmogs. Didn't get anything too special, but anywho, we head on back to Silvermoon. We tried to gift the shield to him after like reassembling it, but it didn't work. He didn't want it. But the little action of this seems to have like patched things up between them, I guess, like kind of. So the relation seems more like awkward father-son instead of interesting conflict at this point. Which I mean, okay, sure. Either way, we then head into a magical bar that Khadgar is set up, which I'll admit, I think it's a sick idea, and I'm looking forward to talking to Khadgar again when we go through Midnight with side quests later on. So that was pretty much it. Like the last thing we did on day 6 was we just started the Haranir questline, which is this race of people living inside the earth of Azeroth. Apparently, all the world trees have like deep ass roots that go inside the earth and makes this giant pocket of space where people are living. So there's a lot of grass and trees. Kind of feels like a druid-esque zone, which kind of matches up with the fact that the world trees, druids, underworld druids, yes. The link here is that we had a Haranir visitor up in Eversong that was investigating the Lightbloom thingies, and we basically just got invited home to her. So that's as far as we got on this day. As far for progress on completion, we ticked off more campaign quests and got some transmogs. So we went from 2.2 to 2.43%. We start off day 7 by continuing questing through Haranir. Honestly, the lore was a tad bit confusing to me, as they've got some sort of goddess that's talking to them, but she's gone, and then also if you put the goddess on ignore, you get some weird powers that allow you to jump in around the rift with mobs that conveniently drop an essence that you need to slay Lightbloom creatures. So, yeah. The quest wasn't overall that memorable. I mean, it looked cool. We're kind of just investigating the Lightbloom, gathering the resources to fight it, as I mentioned, advocating for joining forces with the Haranir, which eventually worked itself out, so the Haranir is now a playable race. The quest line ends by Orvania, the visitor from earlier that we met in Eversong. She joins us back up Eversong to defend it against an assault from the Lightbloom. And then the rest of the people suddenly just decide to join, even though they said no first. Because, I mean, with surface dwellers, they are journeying to the earth type dwellers. But yeah, they decide to join and dry off the Lightbloom. They will to kill a Light Warden, which sort of runs some population control on surface dwellers, so he's kind of like utilizing the Lightbloom for his own purpose. Which confused me, because first I was like, did he spread the Lightbloom? Was Lightbloom the result of the Sunwell? Like, which is it? So from what I could gather, the Lightbloom arose due to all the paladins like bolstering and praying into the Sunwell, which is basically overclocking the Sunwell's capacities, which makes it leak out light into the soil. And then this Light Warden dude just saw this as an opportunity to use this to quell some surface dwellers. So, yeah. After that is done, we report back to Silvermoon. We get tasked with helping out Manchester Umbrake to find like a contraption that lets us travel to the Void, where Salataf resides, so we can fight her on her home turf. We do that, we open a portal, hop on through, and we're in the last zone, the Void Storm. While we are here, we team up with Lothraxion, which is the High Commander of the Grand Army of the Light. So he really doesn't like Void or Fel or really anything that isn't the Light, I suppose. I do vaguely remember him joining us in the last part of Legion, which was aboard a Draenei spaceship thingy called the Vindicar. But I'm not sure what he's been up to since then, honestly. Anywho, we continue traversing the Void, kill some odd-looking beasts. We find out that Aurelia Windrunner, Aretha's mother, is here, so a little reunion time. There's more pressing matters to attend to though, like the fact that a bunch of ethereals have teamed up with Salataf to bring forth the end of the world by consuming everything. So we try to blow up a thingy, but we also end up killing an Aru, so oopsie, I guess. And after that we capture an aberration called Decimus, which ends up being a fun little addition to our ensemble here, and there's some brewing tension between him and Lothraxion, as Lothraxion is sure that Decimus will betray us, but Illyria remains steadfast that she's sure that our motivations are aligning with Decimus, because he's just seeking power and control, and we just want to save Azra from being consumed. And we can't just continue through the Void Storm, killing things, assaulting the Void Forces, and then it culminates into like this weird decision point where we could either take a chance on sort of turning down the Nexus point, if I'm not misunderstanding. Basically, we're turning off the engine of whatever is shooting that large beam down at the Sunwell's light beam. Or we could blow everything up, which is what Lothraxion wants to do. The problem is that if we choose to blow everything up, then we could possibly also end up blowing up Silvermoon, killing a bunch of civilians. And then the other way around, like turning off the ignition type thing, we don't know that it'll work, so it's kind of that like decision point, which is kind of cool. But then Lothraxion just decides to choose for us and like makes a beeline for it to just blow shit up. So we run after him and we freaking kill him. So yeah, no more Lothraxion. And yeah, it was Lothraxion that I was talking about a bit earlier in regards to someone going off the deep end. But as I said then, I'll say it again, it felt a bit rushed, honestly. And I'm also sad because Lothraxion is kind of a cool character and now he's just fucking dead. Either way, now that we end up going with the other plan of just turning off the ignition so that we don't blow Sylvan up, we find out that, hey, it worked. So we get a cheesy ass moment of mother being proud of son, and the scene is set for the Voidspire raid. But we can't continue that part right now as we are only level 87, and you need to be max level to continue. And another note is that the base campaign is actually done at this point. The rest is sort of just endgame quest lines that we will not be doing in this episode. So to finish off the day, I decided to just run a time walking dungeon to chill out. Gave me some room to just rant about the campaign lore and like just summarize it for myself. And honestly, my summary is that I liked it. It was fun. Salataf was probably the most interesting thing about the entire campaign. We never really get any concrete proof of her like origins or her lore. She's just running around manipulating, consuming things, like an orchestrator type thing, and she's still like mysterious enough to be intriguing, which is nice. And the family in focus, like of Arator, Thorelion, and Illyria, I mean, they worked as a decent backdrop for a light versus void story. It was easy to follow, proved to like provide a pretty enjoyable journey through the campaign. Although, again, as I've kind of been ranting on about, is that I would enjoy it more if it was a tad bit more fucked up. Like, the risks are high, obviously. It's like the existence, sure, but like some of the characters feel like very safe. And yeah, I mean, not all characters have to be like edgy or anything, but they all just felt a bit safe. But then again, like, there might be that there's more depth and depravity in the side quests, which we'll explore in the future. So, after ranting for a long while, I decided that I wanted to get Moon Bandit to level 90, so I can just set her aside for the time being and start a new journey in the next session. So, that's what we did. So we kind of just tried out to see how fast we could level by just spamming side quests in the Amani zone. And again, don't worry, in the future I'll be reading through the quests and like getting a feeling for the lore or for all the side quests there. But for Moon Bandit, we're just power leveling right now. Because I'd rather experience these quests on an alt, so that I could take in the entire zone without worrying about the campaign, really. So overall, it took us about 3 hours to get a max level. It felt pretty darn fast. And progress-wise, we end our midnight journey at 2.68% of total WoW completion, and we are ready to start up our journey back in sort of the classic Eastern Kingdom zones in the next episode. So the next character that we'll be leveling is that of Peltis, which was briefly shown in recap number 1. He's a dwarven hunter, so stay tuned for that. But for now, the journey of Moon Bandit is going to be hit on a little bit of a pause. So we'll see her possibly in later episodes as well. I'm probably going to use her to farm some raids every now and then. So yeah. Either way, stay tuned, yeah, and take care. And I'll see you on the other side. Peace out.